Hi everyone, this is Jennifer from Oregon Coast Wasabi. I hope you're all doing well. We wanted to bring you a new video, and today we're actually going to show you what to do with your wasabi plant when you want to either harvest the rhizome, the main central rhizome, or you just want to transplant your plant, your sort of offshoots. So we get this question a lot. People have had their plants for a while. We've had people who've had their plants for 3 years or so ask us, now what do I do? So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this plant, we're going to find the central rhizome, and we're going to break off the offshoots and transplant those. So the first step in this process is we're going to take our plant and pull it out of the main pot that it's in. This pot is in about 2 gallons, or this plant's in about a 2-gallon size pot. So we'll pull the plant out, and then we're going to gently pull off some of the dirt, and then we're going to find the offshoots and we'll break those off gently. After we pull our plant out and we break off the offshoots, the next step is actually to take those offshoots and trim them, and then we can replant those in some smaller pots. And then we can take the center plant with the main rhizome, and if it's big enough and you want to eat it right then you can just trim it and put it in the refrigerator. But today what we're going to do is we're going to take that center plant and we're going to replant it. So getting some offshoots and having some more wasabi doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily kill off that central plant. We get that question a lot. So we're just going to replant the central plant and let it keep growing. So we get the question a lot from people who buy plant starts. What do I do with my plant after I've had it for a while? Do I have offshoots, or how do I harvest the rhizome so I can eat it? So today we thought we'd show you what to do, basically. So we're going to pull this plant up. We're basically going to repot this. So we're going to pull up this plant. This plant is about 15 months old. So we normally tell people it's going to take 24 to 36 months to develop a good-sized rhizome. And this plant's young, so the rhizome in this plant is going to be smaller, but I wanted to show it to you so that you know you can transplant it, and you can transplant the offshoots even before you're ready to eat the rhizome. So we're going to pull it out of the pot here and pull off the dirt and transplant them. This is about a 2-gallon size pot. We'll just pull it out. It's got some nice root development here. And we're going to try to save some of this soil. Again, you know, you just want to use a good quality potting soil, because the plants don't like to be waterlogged. So they like drainage. Drainage is important to wasabi plants. So we're just going to break this off a little bit. You can see we're kind of breaking up the roots a little bit just so that we can access the plant starts. So people also ask us, you know, I've had my plant for 2 years or 3 years and I can't see the rhizome. So you probably can see in the camera right now, you can't really see the rhizome. It's hard to see. And for us, when we harvest, we actually have to go through the greenhouse and we feel around to the center of the plants to be able to feel the rhizome. And the rhizome is in the very middle of the plant there. So you can see that it's really hard to see. It's hard to see it unless you're really looking. It's in there. And then around that central rhizome has offshoots all around it. So just break it up. You're not going to hurt the plant. It's going to be totally fine. And the more you break up the soil here, the more you can see the offshoots. And these will break off really easily. Just move the soil off here. And you can see on the side here, we've got these offshoots. So we'll start with this one here. These plants actually produce a lot of root material. That's the white stuff here. So here we go. We'll start with this offshoot. And we'll just gently pull it out, okay? So that's all you have to do. So you've got this offshoot, and you can even see it doesn't even really have roots, but they actually develop roots really quickly. So we're going to set that aside. We're just going to kind of go around the outside of the plant and pull off all these offshoots. All right, so we're just gonna pull off the center, these offshoots rather, on the side here. You can see some of them have roots attached a little bit and some of them really don't, and that's fine because they're gonna develop roots. And just go around the outside of the plant and gently pull them off. Or not so gently. They're actually fine. Here we go. And what we're doing is we're actually getting to what is the central rhizome of this plant. There we go. All right, and so for this plant, I might actually leave both of these rhizomes in the middle here. And you can see all of the root material that's left. So if you wanted to, you could actually eat these rhizomes. This is the rhizome, remember, and we've got other videos of this, but this is the rhizome of the plant. This is the part that you grate. The whole thing's edible, including the stalks. So then we're gonna take this plant and we'll take our original pot, and as long as the plant was healthy, you can actually reuse the soil that you just took out. And we can replant this back into that original pot. So just make sure that the plant's upright, but you don't want to cover up the rhizomes. Okay, so we've pulled off our offshoots and we've replanted the main plant back into its pot. So I'm going to set this aside. And now we're going to replant our offshoots. So let's look, we've got, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 11 offshoots. So from one plant, there's 11 offshoots. So you can take all of these and replant them or give them away to your friends or whatever you want to do. If you start this process and all of a sudden you have to have something, you have to go do something and you don't have them replanted, take these and put them in a plastic bag and throw them in your refrigerator, and they'll be fine in there for even a week or two until you have time to replant them. So I'm just gonna grab some smaller pots. So you can put the offshoots in a large pot as well. We just happen to have these small 4-inch pots around. You can put them in smaller pots until they start to establish themselves, and then you can put them into larger pots. So what you want to do, it's really simple. All you want to do is pull off, if you've got some dead leaves on the offshoots, just pull those off. And then we actually usually trim the leaves off until you have just a little bit of leaf stem. And that actually is mostly because the leaves and the leaf stems are large and heavy enough that they'll pull over the new plant before it has a chance to really root itself. And then you basically just wanna stick it in your pot until it's upright. So you don't wanna bury the rhizome. We'll do a couple more here. So again, here's a dead leaf. So just pull that off and trim off the other leaves. You can see this one has some small leaves in the center, and those can stay because they're tiny and they're not going to pull the plant over. And then just take your rhizome, make a little divot in the soil, and put it in there just so it's upright. But try not to cover the rhizome.
Had to try.
All right, so we'll do one more. I want to show you, this one has a little bit more of a root on it. So again, here's a small leftover piece of dead leaf. We'll pull that off. Another one here. And we'll trim these. And then if you have a start that has a fairly long root in it, you want to make sure to tuck that down into the soil. But again, you want to only plant it as much as you need to get the plant to stand up straight. So you don't want to bury the rhizome. These plants can stay in these smaller pots for, I'd say, at least up to 6 months until you're ready to replant them. Or if they start looking like they're not doing so great in the smaller pots, you can always put them in larger pots. So to sum it up, here's our main plant. We broke off the offshoots and we transplanted your larger plant, which will keep happily growing in this pot. We got 11 offshoots off of the one plant and transplanted them into smaller pots. Although if you have a bunch of larger ones, larger pots, that's fine too. And these guys will be perfectly happy in these small pots for probably about 6 months. So all you need to do now is give them a little bit of water. Water them every couple of days just to keep them damp. And remember, they prefer shade. So put them in the shade, give them a little bit of water, and you're good to go.